let's talk about this for just a minute. Webinar chat. We have, and this is really fun. Fixed Joe says yes. Yo, Bryce. I know Bryce. I know some of you. Jesse Paul is here. Jesse's a big producer. I can tell you that right now because Jesse is one of my team members. It's really my business partner. Been with me for 11 years. Bill in Denver. Hi, Bill. We've been messaging back and forth. Jen Lambert working from St. George, Utah. I like Jen. I'll tell you about Jen in just a minute. Rolling with the punches, Joe. Guthrie, Oklahoma. Matthew. Saskatoon. That's my boy, Zach Smith, right there. Brian Clark. Guys, welcome. Okay, so I'm so excited you're here. And I want to jump right into what we're going to do. People overestimate what they can achieve this is a Tony Robbins quote. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they greatly underestimate what they can do in a decade. And I actually heard this live at a Tony Robbins, Tom Ferry. I want to say Matthew Ferry because I saw Matthew Williams. Glad you're here, Matthew Williams. At a Tom Ferry event about 15 years ago, which is a very long time ago. And at the time, Tony Robbins came and he spoke and he had us jump on our chairs and do all sorts of crazy crap. And that was a lot of fun. And he said, people overestimate, I don't know how he said it, what they can achieve in a year. And he said at the time, they dramatically underestimate what they can achieve in 3 years. See, the challenge, gang, is that most realtors are not thinking in terms of 5 years, 3 years, 1 year. Guys, I want you to drop in the chat the number one if what it feels like is you're usually just trying to figure out, am I going to close a deal next month? Okay, drop a 1 in the chat if that feels familiar to you, okay? I want to see this, and I think we're going to get some 1s. Okay. Hey, Bunny, glad you joined. Me too, a lot of the time, okay? So I'm getting 1s, okay? That is what's called the transaction treadmill, and it's kind of deadly. And today, we're going to talk about how you get off of it, guys. We are going to jam. It is 11:05 my time, 11:06 my time, 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific. We're going to jam through this content. Here's what I ask. I ask that you guys just bring all of you here because I've got this in a webinar view because I think it's a little cleaner today. This is a test. Maybe next time we'll go back to a regular Zoom meeting room. But there's a lot of people, right? We have a lot of people in the room. So what I want you to do is bring all of you. And I'm going to help you do that right now. I'm going to do something that you've probably never done in a workshop. A lot of you said I'm on the transaction treadmill. So here's what I want you to do. I want you guys to close your eyes. I really do. And we're going to put it in the locker. You can go ahead and give that image a look on the screen. Just pick a locker, any locker. And then go ahead and close your eyes. Guys, one of the reasons you're here, I want you to just take a couple of deep breaths, is there's something that you don't like about your business. And if realtors are honest, most of them don't like a lot of parts of their business. They're very afraid to tell anyone that that's the case. I interview producers all the time. I'm a producer. I've lived it. Right now, I want you to just take a breath. Just let your eyes close, relax for a second. And you saw the lockers. I want you to take whatever you're worried about this morning. Am I going to do a deal this month? I have a client who's angry right now. Like, as I was entering the webinar, they were angry that a lockbox didn't get removed from their home that was rented now. An active listing. Yeah. My son walked in and said, "Can you take me to the tire shop to pick up the van that he drives for our company?" You might be worried about something at home. You might be worried about a negotiation you're involved in. You might be saying, am I even cut out for this business? How long do I want to do this for? I want you to visualize that you go to one of those lockers and you put it in there. Open the locker, set down the thing. Just set it on the shelf. Set all the things in there, your family, your business. Guys, this is 90 minutes of your life. 90 minutes. When you're done, you go back to the locker and you can get it out. I want you to go ahead and put a padlock on it. Envision that feeling of that weight of the lock in your hand. And then you snap it, that click. Nice sound. It's actually quite satisfying. I want you to go ahead and lock it. When you're ready, open your eyes. Would anyone drop in the chat what you just put in the locker? Anybody willing to share what you dropped in the locker? And you don't have to get too personal. Fear. Fear was dropped in the locker. Yeah. An email from a lender, Jackie. Oh my gosh. Joe says the music's too loud. We're going to kill it anyway, Joe. Well, let's see what else you dropped. Where's my next client coming from? Joe says the music's too loud. That's what he put in the locker. Thank you. Just kidding. That's not what he put in the locker. Oh, by the way, I had a lender texting with me in the last, lender and buyer's agent in the last 45 minutes saying, hey, we need this information on this deal because we can't close the loan on your listing because we can't get in touch with the insurance agent for the master insurance policy for the HOA. I'm like, I'm supposed to put on a workshop right now. Let me tell you, guys, it's all going to be there. Anybody else want to share something that you put in the locker? Because every one of you put something in that locker unless you just didn't play all out. Anybody else put something in the locker? I had to put Ernie and Leanne in. That's my people who are upset about the lockbox. Fortunately, I built a team, and we're going to talk about that today. And I asked Taylor, I said, Taylor, as I closed my door to talk to you, I said, I need you to text Eli and chat Eli and tell him to go get this lockbox. She started to talk to me, and I just closed the door. Yeah. Yeah. Joe's worried about his 11-year-old who's in the other room. GP's like, man, I got a prospect cancels and expireds. Brian Clark says, man, maybe I'm not good enough. Trevor says, how am I going to keep doing this? Joe put the kid in the locker. Guys, this is, Bunny says, dealing with my previous company. I know Bunny's previous company. Bunny, stays between us, ladies. By the way, you should come see us sometime. I'd love to hang out with you and go to lunch. We've never done that. Very lazy buyers on my listing. Buyer's agent. Yeah, we know about that. Guys, this is who I am. We've set this in the locker. This is going to be a different experience than any experience you've ever had on like a webinar. It's already been different. I'll bet you it was different from the time I told you to close your eyes and put that in the locker. This is who I am. I'm a regular guy. I've sold a few thousand homes. 1,300 personally. My team sold about 2,200. And one year I sold 161 with 2 administrators. Let me tell you about that day, Jen says, doubt and procrastination. Let me tell you about that year. We're going to talk about that year, about ruined me. Working almost 24/7. And guys, I was married last year. Jen Lambert is commenting. Jen's my wife. She's going to be on with us until noon. That's her in the middle in that photo. And with her dad and I on August 2nd of 2025. I'm just living my life, guys. I'm not here because I read a book. I'm here because I've lived on both sides of this. The producer version, the hustler that was burning me down, and the operator version that's given me my life back, and it's why I'm here today. Guys, if any of these sound familiar, okay, Ryan says, I'm a flat fee broker, number one four realtor in the Chicagoland, and I closed 248 with no help at all. That's why I'm here. Ryan, you need so much help. Not as a person, maybe as a person. Ryan, there's a guy that's supposed to be in here who sold 100, I think he's going to do 150 this year in Indiana doing the same thing. Drew, amazing man. I am so glad you are here, Ryan. Thank you. Guys, read this sheet, this page. I'm present in my body and not in my, but not in mind, but absent in mind. Was last year a system or a sprint? This is a guy who told me he wasn't afraid he could duplicate what he did last year. I just want to execute without the angst. I broke the same promise to my wife 3 years in a row. That's the flat fee guy. What's the 1% guy, Ryan? He said 3 years in a row, I promised my wife I wouldn't work this much, and then I keep working this much. Last time I talked to him, he said his marriage was in trouble. The kids think this is just how dad is. No one in my market will do this with me. People feel very lonely. Tom Ferry says real estate is the loneliest people business in the world. It is the loneliest people business in the world. I can make good money, but I can't step away without anxiety. He actually said crippling anxiety. I cut it so it would fit the page. It's a guy by the name of Logan in Salt Lake City. Does calmer growth actually exist? The month I made the most money is the month I felt the most empty. I'm not afraid to work hard. I just don't know if I can sustain this. Does any of this sound familiar? Drop a yes or a one in the chat. This is why you're here. This is why we're here. Ryan's like, hello, 248 deals. Ryan. Yes, 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 yes. My whole business in the locker. Yes, Brian's here. Brian is a great man. New York State. Okay, guys, this is called the messy middle, and there is a way out. Okay. Let me tell you guys what you said was keeping you up at night. Would you like to know what uh, some of the things you said were? I won't show you the sheet because you'll see the names, but that's okay. I'm just going to read it to you. I'm going to tell you what some of you said were keeping you, like when you came into this workshop. This is a workshop. You said, well, maybe it's not going to load, and then I won't be able to tell you about it. So, but hopefully it loads, and then we can talk about it. Look, guys, you are not alone. This is how it is for real estate agents. Okay. I had people say, I don't know where my next deal is coming from. I'm in total and utter chaos. I don't, I don't know what to do about it. Right? My family life is like it's a legitimate chaos cluster bomb. Okay. All of these things, I'm going to tell you right now, if I can get to it, are things that you talked about. Okay. These are things that you were worried about. And I bet I can still tell you right here because I'm gonna pull it another way. I think everything's just unhappy because I'm alive right now. Okay. But what I'm going to tell you is this. What you guys are worried about is what other people are worried about. How do I sustain this business over the long term? Right? And different markets, same problems. Guys, in the next 90 minutes, it's not even going to be 90 minutes, it's going to be an hour and 13 minutes. You're going to leave with clarity about your ceiling. You're going to leave with the architecture required to stabilize. Okay. I'll explain what that is. Okay. This is the operating rhythms that you need to run your business and build a business that's sustainable, to create predictable income and presence at home. And the last thing we're going to leave you with is an understanding of the three types of leverage that you need so you can scale without so much dang chaos. These are three deliverables. This is what I'm promising you. And at the end, guys, I for those who want some additional help, I'll talk about the opportunity to apply for our Realtor Roadmap cohort August, May 6th. Now I'm thinking about our wedding, babe. Prep, we've talked through it. Right now, we're going to talk about the identity problem. You have an identity problem. You didn't even know it. You do. And we'll talk about the identity problem. We'll move through the architecture. What kind of architecture do you have to structure into your business so you can stop being on the transaction treadmill and being a crazy person? We'll talk about the Ascent next. Well, how do I scale? Do I want to scale? And finally, the opportunity to spend some time in the roadmap if that is something that fits. Okay. So guys, here's what I want to talk about. This is the promise that I'm making today. To give any high producing realtor the simplest path to a predictable, profitable, present business. Guys, anybody have a hard time being present at home? Say yes in the chat. Put a one in the chat. Put a bomb in the chat because you don't know how to be present at home and your home life is about to blow up. This is real. Guys, what is the point of the freaking business if we're not present at home? If we lose at home? People are like, yes, one, yes, yes. Of course. Of course. Like, well, duh. Let me go back a slide. Here's what people said. Scale and system. I'm going to list these off. I've been turning a page recently, but I'm open to the quality resource. I need to get leads. Constant working and constant stress. Too many emails and phone calls. How to stay consistent and building sustainable systems at scale. Building listings for life. Uh, Consistency in income. Predictable pipeline and lead gen. Commission roller coaster. I'm wanting volume. Roller coaster closings. Lead generation and roller coaster income. Growing and repeatable incomes. Consistency and where's the next deal. Consistency in my activity, lead flow, and systems. Building a business that isn't where I'm not where it can run day to day without me. Building a system that takes out the busy work. Does this sound familiar? This is just what you said. Let's get back to the slides. Here we go, guys. This is a workshop. So here's what I'm asking you to do because I'm not with you. I want you to take action. You're here to take action. You already have information. If you went to Chat GPT right now and just said, "Chat, I need I need a business plan," could Chat do it? Yeah, Chat could do it in like 5 seconds. Big deal. Knowledge is not power. Implemented knowledge is power. Okay. The knowledge, guys, the knowledge you don't implement is your mortal enemy. Anybody here say, I feel like I've been to workshops, I've been to webinars, I've been to seminars. That's part of the reason that there are a lot of people that saw this. They saw it in their feed because I beat the crap out of you for 2 weeks about this workshop. And a lot of people said, I'm not going to go. They said, I was too busy to go. That's why you stay stuck. Okay. What's your broker telling you guys? Well, your broker says, prospect more. I'm a fan of prospecting, big fan, built my business on it. Add Zillow, post to TikTok, hire a buyer's agent, add another lead source, Instagram. Okay. This is conventional wisdom. And it's exactly why you're here. See, you're trying a version of it, and the ceiling is still there. The ceiling is like you run into it, right? That's the ceiling. And guys, by the way, I'm gonna leave the chat open the whole time. So if you have comments, questions, you can drop them in here and we'll hit them today. So we're moving past the conventional wisdom. Let me be clear. You should do all of these things, maybe. But we're going to talk to you about money leverage, time leverage, people leverage. We're going to talk about red light, green light. So you stop throwing money at crap. Anybody here just throwing money at stuff that was a waste of money? Anybody want to drop in chat and say, yeah? I know a couple of you have because I know you. Anybody are like, oh, I got the latest the system. It was an AI video system. Somebody in this room, he knows who he is. He signed up for that last year. That was awesome. Yeah, he might be outing himself. Oh, I got the latest. They're gonna like it's gonna create all the marketing and the templates for me, and then you didn't do anything with it. Sure, guys, how long have you known? I want you to answer this. I want you to answer in your mind, and I want you to answer this in the chat. How long have you known that you were meant for something better than what you're currently experiencing? How long have you known that the chaos and the overwhelm? Okay, yeah, that's great. Jesse says, "How I do?" has been an issue that you're avoiding? How long have you known? Anybody willing to share? How long have you known that? Is it 1 year? 3 years? 5 years? Guys, are you 12 years on this thing? And yeah, a long time, Bill says. Who else? Who else has known? 4 to 5 years, Jason says. Good grief. 1 to 2. Some of you guys told me this last week that your life was a complete shit show, your business. I mean, by the way, here's the comedy. Selling a ton of real estate and making a lot of money. It's a complete shit show. 4 to 5 years, 1 to 2. Guys, we have to take ownership. Like we have to build something beyond the hustle. So the question is this, it's like, are you ready? I mean, are you ready to dig in? This is, we all have to answer that question. Am I ready? I'm doing something that I'll talk about later that's really, I think it's going to be transformational for a lot of people. And I'm going to spend 10 weeks doing this private group. And I had a couple of guys that were going to join, and they said, I'm so out of control and my hair is on fire. I can't even imagine. I don't know how, they literally said, I don't know how to fix what I'm doing, what the problem, because it's a cluster, yet I feel too busy to join. Do you see how we keep ourselves stuck? Guys, I want you to, this is an exercise, okay? Jason says he feels like he has no control. I get it. This is an identity problem. We'll talk about it. I want you to take a pen out, okay? I want you to take a pen and I want you to write down, just look at the screen. If my business were as good as it gets, like this is a workshop, I'm actually going to have you work. If my business were as good as it gets, what would it look like? Take 90 seconds. Write it down. I'm going to grab some water. I want you to literally write that down. All right. What would it look like, guys? When would you wake up? What would Tuesday look like? Who would you be at your kid's game on Friday or whatever that looks like? Would your spouse describe you differently? 4:30 a.m., Jesse says. Anybody willing to drop in chat what anything that your life would look like if it were as good as it gets? If it were as good as it gets. This is called a North Star exercise. It's actually something that I take agents through in coaching. The North Star. This is a very dumbed down version of it for the purposes. Jason says 7, 8 a.m. I have a young child who doesn't sleep. Emily says 6 a.m. and going to listing appointments. No kids for me. Yeah. Just for fun. What would you stop doing? Joe says help 1 million people buy or sell a house. That's thinking big. What would you stop doing, guys? If your business were as good as it gets? I'd love to know. I want you to think about that. Huh. Jackie says she'd stop worrying. Stop spending so much time away from the family, more present time. Ironman training for Ironman Australia or New Zealand. Get off of the hamster wheel. Joe says his life is a dream. You know what, Joe? Mine is too, but there's still things that I'll add to it. Comparing yourself to other agents, stressing about getting more leads and clients. Yesterday, I was in a call with my coach. Guys, I'm investing this year about 30 grand to go through a whole bunch of transformational coaching because I'm tired of being where I am. And my life's pretty good. You guys know Nacho Libre? My life is good, really good. Anyway, it's whatever. I put one under contract this morning, Jason. Before I got in here. Closing day means I'm unemployed. But in this call in my small group, Jason, my coach, said, I want you guys to pay attention to whether you're in expansion or force contraction. Force. You guys know what force is, right? So let's keep going, guys. I want you to all, you're welcome to take a picture of this. I'm going to send you the recording. And I'm kind of regretting that we went webinar because I'd rather see your faces and it's too late to go back and solve it. So, guys, this is a classic example of lesson learned. I'm just testing some things right now. So I want you to understand what's happening here. This is what a real estate business worth having has. I want you to pay attention here. In the middle is what's called predictable, profitable, and present. Guys, is it always going to be perfectly predictable? No. It's real estate. But if your income is like this, up and down and up and down and up and down, what if it were smoothed out? So here's what happens. There are three issues: identity, architecture, and scale. We have to reset our identity to become business owners and operators, not producers. We need to install the architecture of business ownership, and then we can scale. And so what happens is the goal is the green. Does everybody understand that red and green? Green is go. Here's what happens. Guys, if you have the identity, you're like, okay, I get it, I'm a business owner. And then you try to scale too fast. I watch agents do this, you get chaos. If you understand how to scale and you have the architecture, but you still have the identity of a hustler or a producer, you become overworked and unpredictable because you can't set down the hustle. And some of us have the problem where we're like, okay, I get it. I'm going to become a business owner, Jeremy. I've got the identity. Okay, I can build the architecture. But what happens is you don't scale. You don't install the leverage. You become time poor because you're still busy, but you don't have any leverage to help you. We're going to talk about what these things on the outer rings mean today. Okay. Let's keep going. This is a lot of fun, guys. Guys, I was the best student the industry ever had. If you went to YouTube right now and just said, hey, how to grow my real estate business, guess what they're going to tell you? More leads, more sales. Sales training, get more leads, get more deals. Get more leads, get more deals. Every agent says, Joe says he likes this format. Beautiful, Joe. Thank you. Every agent thinks that's the solution. I'm going to tell you how the solution, how more business actually became the fuel that created the forest fire in my life. It was the best industry the student ever had, guys. I listened to Tom Ferry CDs, guys. I still have the workbook from 2005 when I went to my first Tom Ferry seminar to kind of change my life. I have the workbook. I would listen to audio CDs of people of expired listing calls and for sale by owner calls and listing appointments on my way to the listing appointments. I was so good. I was freaking unstoppable. I was an absolute machine. I took everything I learned from these guys and I crafted it in my own style, which is called conversational selling, which I teach inside my programs. But that's another conversation. It's conversational selling. We're not going to get into that today. But do you guys want to know what happened when I mastered it? It worked. 161 deals one year, me and two admin, rookie of the year when I started, top 1% of realtors in America. Guys, I was the man, right? On the scoreboard, it was all true. And here's the comedy. It was the match that lit the fire that burnt everything down. You know that year that I had the assistant doing that, or I sold all those homes? I walked in one morning and I was like, hey, good morning. And Tamara, my assistant's like, good morning. And I walked in my office and then I backed up like you do out a door. And I said, did you go home last night? And she looked at me and I looked at her and no words were uttered. And I realized she'd stayed all night dealing with the paperwork. Guys, here's the thing no one warned me about. The thing that made me successful is the thing that burnt it down. I want you to think about it. When you're good at sales, you sell more. When you sell more, you get more listings. When you get more listings, you close more buyers. Your phone rings, your calendar fills up more. Your weekends disappear, your evenings disappear, and the chaos compounds. I wasn't bad at my job, I was too good at it. This is awesome. Ryan says he wants her contact info. Dude, I burnt her out. She's long out of real estate. That's hilarious. The sales skill wasn't the problem. Guys, when you throw a match on a house with no foundation, it all burns. Stunning to think about, is it not? So here's the deal, guys. This is the real shift. The shift is I stopped being a producer and I became an operator. So here's before, right? Before, tons of deals. I did end up divorced. There was so much complexity in that. Can I just blame real estate? No. But that happened in 2018. I'm very happily remarried. Again, my wife is on this call right now. She is a health coach, integrative health coach, by the way. I was evenings and weekends, and what I didn't put there is chaos. Last year, I closed 25 units. You guys are like, well, that's not very cool. Yeah, well, I closed 25 units working way less than you guys work. Way less. I skied 25 days. I think it might have been 28. I probably rode my mountain bike 120 times. I stay home by 5:30. That's a placeholder. Some days I just didn't go to work, right? I got married. I had an incredible honeymoon. Um, and I ran a team that sold $100 million in real estate. Right now we have 31 pending. Well, actually, we won't after today because we're closing a bunch. We had 34 pending 3 days ago. Guys, this is not because I worked harder, not because I got better at scripts. It's because I finally built the rest of what you see behind me, not technically behind me. By the way, I know only 28 days rookie numbers. That's right, man. It's because we're biking so much. I live in the desert and it is so good. Guess what I did 2.5 hours before I came on here today? I rode my mountain bike because I wanted to be present and I wanted to be dialed in, and I cranked out a ride. So guys, look, these are some things that people that I've worked with have said. If you wonder, like, is this guy really for real? Yeah. Yeah, I am. And here's the great thing about me as your coach today. I'm honest about it, dudes. See, the standard coaches right now in real estate, they only want to tell you how to sell another house. They're actually not talking to you about the foundation of your life that's the big problem. Okay. So, guys, you have identity problems. We're going to talk about breaking your ceiling without breaking your life. And we're going to go through the following: how to identify the exact belief system keeping you stuck, why hustle got you here, but it can't get you where you want to go, and the one identity shift that makes every tactic, system, and hire finally work. Okay. Does this feel like some of you guys? All right. Breaking invisible identity ceilings. So who are you? Are you the superhero, the serious adult, the artist, the chill guy, the genius scientist? Today's plan: figure myself out. Maybe make profit, right? Down below, who am I? I don't know. Existential supplies. Does this resonate, guys? A lot of us are still trying to figure out. I'm 50, and some days I'm like, what? Who am I? What am I doing? Guys, Gay Hendricks wrote a book called The Big Leap. As a matter of fact, I give this to all my coaching clients. Here it is. It's a game changer. It has literally been a life changer for me. And two of my coaches that have coached me ended up telling me that me giving them this book helped them. His premise is this: every one of us has an internal thermostat that has a max setting for how much success, love, peace, creativity that we can experience. Okay. When we exceed the setting, we do something. And the something we do is we unconsciously go, whoa, let's dial it back down a little bit, cowboy. Do you know what it looks like? Do you guys want to know a great example of someone with an upper limit problem? Tiger Woods. Get this book immediately. We get into a fight with our spouse. We, I don't know, wreck our car again. We work ourselves until we break. It's called an upper limit. Until you realize what yours is, it's going to keep running you. And mine ran me. And I still have some scripts that run me. Can I tell you guys one that's throwing me off right now? I've sold all these homes. All these homes. In my community, people perceive us as having like the biggest brand. I have this imposter syndrome about being your coach. Even just today, and you didn't pay a dollar to be here. Like, oh, am I really up to this? Do people really want to hear what I have to say? Am I okay? So, guys, I want you to start thinking about this situation. What is your upper limit? What is the thermostat that you've set on yourself? Well, one of the upper limits that you guys are going to have to break through is called hustle. So, hustle is not a strategy. Hustle is who agents become because no one's teaching them otherwise. Hustle is like a pacifier, a binky. Okay, we always call it a binky in my house. You put it in your mouth and it pacifies you. Here's the problem. Hustle begets more hustle. Not more structure, not more scale, more hustle. And do you know why hustle is a problem? Because it works. What happens is we're like, I'll just hustle back out and find another deal. Does anybody resonate with I'm out of deals, so I'm going to scramble and get another deal? Put it in the chat. Say me or drop a one. Oh hell, I'm out of pendings. I got to go back and find more business. Like these guys who go, dude, I know that what you're doing is exactly what I need, but I can't stop long enough to get it. Hey, I know I'm bleeding on the side of the road and you have the stitches and the stuff and the salve to fix it, but I'm too busy on the road going that I can't stop to have you fix it. I can't stop for me to fix it. Guys, the ceiling isn't your market or the leads. It's the identity that you're stuck in. And one of the things I'm going to invite you to do today is start thinking about your identity. Where am I stuck? Where is my identity the problem? Guys, I'm going to tell you a really quick story. Extra, read all about it. There was a man, this is in the newspaper times. I know we don't read newspapers much now. Every Saturday, he loved to just sit with his coffee and read his newspaper. And all week long, his little boy, 8-year-old boy said, Dad, can we play? And he was too busy to play. I think he was a realtor. He was too busy. I've got a late showing. I've got a late thing. I got to run over. I got to keep this deal together. I'll play with you on Saturday. I'll play with you on Saturday. I'll play with you on Saturday. Saturday comes. He gets up early. He's like, I'm up ahead of my child. Little Billy. I don't know why everyone's little Billy in all these stories. And gets his newspaper and his coffee. He settles in. And his kid comes up from behind the newspaper. Can you guys see it? And the dad's like, oh, there's this feeling. We all know. It doesn't matter if you love your kids, you know the feeling. And he says, Dad, I'm here. And the dad said, oh my gosh. And he looks at his newspaper and there's a map of the world. And he says, I got a game for you. Tears up the whole page. When you can put this map back together, we'll play. Sends the kid away with all these little parts and pieces of the newspaper page and settles back into his paper. About 2 minutes later, the kid's back. The dad goes, oh my gosh, how did you do this? How did you put that? Like that was the map of the world. And the little boy said, oh, there was a man's face on the back. I just put his face back together. When you put the man or woman back together, the rest of the world falls into place. And this is why agents stay stuck in tactics. This is why their business never changes. This is why so many agents will just tell you, I don't know if I can, how long I have to hang on to this thing. So guys, quick thing I want to check in. Are you alive out there? Drop in the chat because I'm not seeing faces. Drop in the chat. What's a takeaway right now that you're having in the first few minutes? Joe says alive. Ryan's alive. What's something you've thought about and you're thinking about right now as you go through this? Hustle as an identity, Brian. Brian's a freaking producer. That what I'm doing is not scalable and not sustainable. Got it. Keep going, guys. What's a limiting belief that you have? Okay. No structure, no results. Well, you can have results, but you're going to get the same results, right? Who is the person who owns the business you want? This is a game to play. Who is the person who owns the business that you want? I don't mean the actual person. Who do you have to become? Somebody says, I have a hustle problem. I refuse to hustle. I have an identity problem. That is a great comment. Wanting all the control, but controlling nothing. The more we want all the control, the less we do control. But he says, then I need to start utilizing my systems and stop being a control freak. There's a book right here that most everybody's heard of called the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And there's a page in this book where he says they call them the myth understandings, like misunderstandings. And he says that one of them is this: my clients only want to work with me. Only I can deliver quality service. And here's the truth: your clients aren't loyal to you. They're only loyal to the standards you represent. But we'll get into that another day. Guys, right? So what I want you to know is that I'm not smart enough to figure out how to get where I want to go, and I don't deserve to win big. And I'll bet you guys that most of you don't need to be much smarter at all. I'll bet Jesse doesn't need to be any smarter to go where he wants to go. Right? But we think it's a smart issue. I got to be smarter. I got to be better. Right? One of the things that we'll be doing in the Realtor Roadmap program is we're going to take this hour and 30 minutes, hour and 20 minutes that we're spending together, and we're doing full modules on this stuff, on installing the operating rhythms, installing the architecture, full identity work. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's keep going. Guys, there's a little gift that I'm going to give you at the end of this today. I'm going to email it to you. It's called the Upper Limit Assessment. There are 3 pillars that we talked about earlier in that diagram. The ceiling break, which is your identity, the architecture that you need to install, and then the Ascent is scale. There are 10 questions per pillar. You score yourself 1 to 5. In 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you'll be like, oh, I see where the ceiling is. Emily says, I can't wait to do this. I love this. Most agents see this kind of crap and they're like, oh, maybe I don't want to know. Guys, this isn't a gift. It's actually a diagnostic. And it's how we open the door to a real conversation, right? Because here's what I want you to hear right now, because I'm going to come back to this at the end. Many of what I'm covering today, you can try and do it on your own. I did it on my own. It only took me 21 years. I mean, you could probably do it in a couple of years. I've watched people stumble through it, and it's messy, and it takes a long time. And if you've been in the same patterns for years and things aren't changing, it's like, when does it change? I have a guy tell me his marriage is in crisis because of how much he's working, but he says he's too busy to stop. Whoa. You know, one option is you get into a room with people who have walked others through this, and in a room with people who are walking through it, surrounded like people on the same path, led by someone who's been there. And that's the work that I do. Today's free. Everything you get today is free. That's the work that I do, and I'll walk you through that at the end. Guys, the architecture, how to build predictability into your business without burning yourself down. What are we going to talk about here? Well, the one constraint actually limiting your scale, why most producers build complexity instead of clarity, the calendar and sphere system. We're actually not going to get deep into the sphere system today, but we're going to talk about the calendar. Just because of time, the protection of mornings, your family, and your production at the same time. We're going to talk about database for sure. This is something called the income roller coaster. Everybody's familiar, right? Whee! You know the roller coaster when it goes up, and you're like, hey, I can see the beach if you're at Disneyland or wherever, right? Hey, there's the whatever building. And you're getting ready to go down, and then you close a deal, whee, and you get to the bottom. And this looks like this, guys. You lead generate hard, you land clients, you work the clients, you get the closings, you look up, your pipeline's empty, and you start over. Up and down for years and years and years. It's not a business. It's a vicious cycle. Guys, drop anything in the chat if that's you. If you have lived this, the income roller coaster, it's very real. Bill says me. I think there's going to be a few of you. I love the people who participate. Thank you, guys. Brian's like, always. Brian, you sell a lot of real estate. Anyway, physically and psychologically, me, more than I'm willing to admit to myself. The reason it happens is kind of simple. Matthew says, I put 3 homes under contract yesterday and today, and I have no active listings and 1 active buyer client. We laugh about this on our team. We're like, hey, we got 35 pending. And then we sell 10 and we're pissed because we close them because now there's no pendings. You guys know what I'm talking about. This is real, guys. And here's why it happens. You only lead generate, a lot of us. A lot of us only lead generate when we're scared. We only lead generate when we're scared. We only build systems when we're broken. And we only follow up when we're hungry. Okay. And this architecture that we're going to talk about is what flattens out the roller coaster. There are 4 drivers in your business. This is it. We could just cancel the workshop after this. The 4 drivers. Lead generation. Anybody heard that before? See, when you get into this business, there's a story in this book. Gary Keller gets out of Baylor University with a real estate degree. And he goes out to get a job with real estate brokerages. Well, you guys know that real estate brokerages actually don't pay anything. There's no job. Goes to his dad to borrow $500. This is like 1979. $500 was a lot of money. His dad's like, you mean to tell me that you got a job? You got a degree in a field that doesn't pay money? Of course, he became the founder of KW Realty, but he was befuddled to realize he had to do all the lead generation. Okay? Lead generation is filling the pipeline. Lead conversion is the skill of sorting the pipeline and converting. That's where a lot of agents fail. Number 3 is the client experience, delivering the promise. Number 4 is, well, okay, that's like having systems to take care of your client. Number 4 is what we call lifetime value. Guys, did you know that 7% of your database is going to sell a home this year, buy or sell? So it's really simple. So if there's 100 people in your database, 7 will buy or sell. If you have 1,000, that's 70. That's a lot of transactions. We're not even getting close to that. Let me ask you a question. Where is it not working for you? Right now, of the 4 drivers, where are you stuck? Which of these 4 or all 4 is broken? Sometimes, Jackie says lead conversion. Sometimes I feel like at the Larkin Group, which is crazy because we're selling a lot of real estate. Sometimes I feel like all of this is just okay, which is comical because that's not true. Lead conversion, lead generation, all of them. Guys, here's what happens. If you don't have a documented process for all 4, Brian says 1 and 4. If you don't have a documented process for all 4, you don't have a business. You have a very stressful, very high paying, sometimes paying job. Okay. So let's talk about rhythms. This is not the rhythm you have to run, but proper real estate businesses run on rhythms. So this is a sample rhythm. So we have 4 drivers. Now we have a rhythm. Sample rhythm right here that we're looking at on the screen. Monday, work your pipeline. Tuesday, talk to all of your active clients. Wednesday, call all of your past clients. Thursday's free to, like, I don't know, get your hair done. Free to do whatever you need to in here. Fridays, do all of your review and your shutdown. So in our world, your life gets better when you develop operating rhythms. For instance, I try to talk to all of my sellers on Mondays. I don't always get it right. Just ask yourself, do I have a rhythm? Chaos happens, guys, when we wake up and react to our inbox. I didn't build a slide because of time, but here's some other rhythms. What's your daily rhythm? I'm practicing a daily rhythm where I roll out of bed in the morning and I do not touch my phone for at least 30 minutes. Typically, what I do is I walk outside and I walk the dogs around the block. It's literally like walking them around 2 blocks. It's not the actual walk. I hike my dog a lot. Dogs. I leave my phone home to walk around the block. It is the first kind of like F you to the world, right? Okay. How's it going? Pretty amazing, dude. Because here's the problem. If you wake up and open up your phone and start reacting to your inbox, you're gone. It's like you are never going to get it back that day. So I'll practice that. I attend church services out here. I'm practicing attending what we call sacrament meeting. It's an hour. Leaving my phone home. We go to the chapel, just a couple minutes away, a few minutes away. I enjoy the meeting without a phone, or I'll leave it in my car. 1 hour a week. My rhythm in the morning, which again, I didn't put this on the screen, then I have a rhythm to the way that I handle my morning. So guys, when you install rhythms, the anxiety disappears because you know what's happening and when. Most of us, does anybody resonate with this? You wake up and it's just like, however this shiz goes today, this is what I'm doing. That's your day. Does that resonate with you guys? And then here's what it feels like. You always feel like you're behind and supposed to be doing something else. And it's a terrible, terrible feeling. So one of the things that we do is help you install operating rhythms. Bill says yes. Love this rhythm. Definitely missing this in your business. Sure. You might have it at home and not in business. That's really normal. Okay. Guys, we've already talked about it. We've talked about what's broken. So what do? We've talked about identity. I told you we're going to work through this quick today. It's a workshop. So I want to do a quick review. We talked about, at the top of the hour, we talked about the identity problem. And what I can do is I'm going to show you right here. Okay. We talked about this. We have an identity, an architecture, and a scale problem. And when we get this stuff right, we become predictable, profitable, and present. Guys, not always predictable, not perfectly profitable, and definitely not perfectly present, but a lot better. If we don't, we end up in scaling chaos, or we end up time poor and reactive, or overworked and unpredictable. We talked about the identity problem. We all have identity problems. And one of the things I'm going to invite you guys to do when you leave today is go, where am I the problem? By the way, it's all over the place. And then we talked about, I'm skipping through this, the architecture. How to build predictably without burning down your life, right? We are on the hamster wheel, the transaction treadmill, the income roller coaster. Isn't it funny? They're all wheel analogies. There are 4 drivers that you have to install in your business. Let me unoverwhelm you about this one for just a minute. What if you spent 1 dedicated hour every morning lead generating, and 1 dedicated hour every morning doing lead follow-up, and 1 dedicated hour every day or morning working on client follow-up? I mean, beyond the stuff that's already happening. That's 3 hours, guys. That is nothing. Can you imagine? I'm going to ask you a question. Is that kind of revelatory to even think about, like, whoa, what if I just managed my day like that? It wouldn't be perfect, but what if I said 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12? What if I set myself a timer like the one I keep on my desk and I did this? Could this change your life? Could you, in a matter of a few weeks, start to get your sanity back? What if you installed rhythms like this in your business? And what if you installed a rhythm in your life? Could this get you a lot of your life back? Could it bring your sanity back? Could it help you be, guys, drop in the chat if you are married or have children. Put me or a one in there, or yes. If you are married with or have children. Melissa, both. Jackie, yes, Jackie's in Moab. Moab is one of my favorite places in the world. Joe's got 2 plus 5. Joe's bringing it. Yep, Bunny's got it. Yep, 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 both. Yep, yep, yep. Bryce. Bryce says our Idaho guy. Okay, Married with Children. Remember that show? I was never allowed to watch Married with Children, Matthew, when I was a kid. That was like too naughty. It actually was kind of naughty when I was a kid. Okay. I want you to be thinking about your business and your rhythms in terms of that. There's a fellow on this call today. I know who he is. He will go unnamed. He's having a problem. Okay. I'm just going to leave it here right now. He's having a problem where his wife is an educator full-time. He has a full-time job in another career that he's trying to get out of and become a full-time realtor. And he is amazing at real estate. I've never met someone who can connect so authentically. He just cares. He is having a really hard time getting his spouse, his wife, to not see the real estate as like a side hustle. So she looks at the real estate like it's this big annoying problem. Would that cause a problem in your business, guys? So I want to be cautious that not that you go back home and say, "Oh, honey, I figured out the problem. It's you." Let's not do that. There are complexities, and so when we build these rhythms into our business and we answer these questions, do I have predictable lead flow? Do I have poor lead follow-up? Do I have mediocre client servicing? Am I losing track of past clients? This is affecting our household, not just financially. I had a guy tell me, this is no joke, that he was so busy in early April that he was working 7 in the morning till midnight for like 2 weeks. Cool. That sounds fun. Sounds terrible. So guys, how do we build the leverage? The financial architecture to get through this. Again, this is a workshop. We can't do it all today. And I told myself I wouldn't even keep you 90 minutes. We may be about 90. In this section, guys, we're going to talk about a hiring decision that buys 10 plus hours a week back and probably more. Pays for itself 4 times over. Why you can't scale what you can't measure. All right? A time audit exercise is going to help you really get your calendar and your sanity back. Is everybody up for that? You guys want your sanity back? Do you dare look at what your days and weeks are? It's pretty scary. So there are 3 types of leverage. I want you guys to write this down. All right? And I'm going to walk through them. The biggest ceiling, I'm going to point something out really quickly. I showed you that diagram with the 3 things. And I said, if you only do these 2 or these 2 or these 2, you end up with a problem. If you can't re-identify as an actual business owner who's going somewhere, which is what we call the North Star, this is all going to make sense when I go back to the diagram. Who has operating rhythms in your life, who sees themselves as a person who can fix this, who then installs architecture in their life, you're always going to be stuck. And then what happens is because you don't do those things, it's tough to do leverage. Leverage is what you're missing. This is why you can't, this is like you can't get ahead, but you can't skip to leverage. You have to do the setup work first. Time. Okay. In this book, The Big Leap, he talks about Einstein time, and he talks about this idea called time ownership. Guys, there's no such thing as time management. Why is there no such thing as time management? If you want to throw it in chat, why is time management not real? Anybody want to put that in the chat? Take a guess. This is kind of abstract, right? It's abstract. Why is time management such a myth? The reason why is because time's finite. So at some point in the world, in the history of mankind, we decided there were 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute, regardless of whatever that mechanism is. They could have said there were 12 hours in a day and they were each 2 hours, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's finite. So we don't manage time. We take ownership of time. Bryce says you can't pause it. You can't move it back or forward. That's it, baby. It's ticking away. I know it right now. I know that my webinar says I've been going 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds. I'm watching it on my screen. So guys, what I deal with is called time ownership. So Dave Ramsey says, give every dollar a job. I like Dave. It's okay. Give every hour a job. Okay. So this is where following a schedule, a rhythm, the same things happen at the same time. Click, 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 click. Seller follow-ups on this day, weekly reviews at this time, lead generation blocks at this hour. It just alleviates a massive amount of anxiety. And here's the cool part. What if you just did it 4 days a week and gave yourself 1 day to just think around, plus the weekend? Okay. So I want you guys to do a time audit this week. The time audit is this. You just Google like a time audit calendar or whatever. It's just going to be like a spread, but you just print it out. Write down what you do in 15-minute increments from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep for an entire week. First, you'll be horrified. Then you'll be free. Because then you'll understand what's actually happening. Man, I'm so busy. It's like I'm so busy. Guys, I know agents who are full-time out of their mind busy selling 1 house per month. I know somebody else in this room that said he sold 248. I don't know how the hell you did that. You can be busy doing a little or a lot. So I want you the first piece of leverage is time. We get to leverage our time. The second one is money. Drum roll, please. Money. Okay. Ryan says, I can prove it. I have no life. Dude, it sounds like hell. We should definitely chat. Okay. Here's the dealia. Very few agents know what they make. Very few agents measure. They only measure, like they barely measure what they're bringing in. But when they go down to brass tacks, they have no idea what the P&L is. Anybody here have a profit and loss statement, an actual profit and loss statement that you look at every month where you know down to the penny? I do now. I didn't used to. Okay. So number one, you have to know what you're bringing in. And number two, you have to know what you're netting. And then what you do is you play red light, green light. And red light, green light is this. I invest, I red light, and then when I have cash, because I sold homes, I green light some marketing and some expenditures. Then I measure them. And if they're working, I keep going. Let me define working. Working is at least, for me, at least 2-to-1 ROI, but honestly, 4-to-1. And then I green light it. If it's not working, I red light it or I yellow light it. Then what I recommend, guys, that's actually from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Now, I'm going to recommend what's called Profit First. There's a book called Profit First. It's floating around my office. This is a modified Profit First model. So it looks like this. Of every dollar commission you earn, You put 10 to 20% straight into a profit account. It's a separate bank account. So let's pretend that you brought $10,000 in on a commission. $1,000 to $2,000 goes straight into a profit account. Okay. $2,000 goes straight to a tax account. So let's pretend that you took 10% to profit and 20% to taxes. Three of that $10,000 it's accounted for and it's not available to you, friend. 70% goes to operations. Well, operations is operations. It's paying you. It's paying your staff. You probably need some staff. It's paying for your marketing, paying for your office, paying for all the stuff. You pay yourself like an employee because you are. You're actually an employee of your business. And how I got off of the income roller coaster and really like the transaction treadmill was one of the first things I did is I actually incorporated. I've taken a salary. This is crazy, guys, for 19 years. 19 years I paid myself a salary. And then I take dividends, which has major tax benefits to it. Okay. So this is the money leverage. Guys, act like a business owner. Is this a little bit revelatory to some of you? Like honestly, and don't feel stupid if it is. Is this a little bit shocking? Like, geez, I'm not doing this. I just get the money and like it just goes somewhere. Melissa says this is really helpful. Good. Very helpful. Good. I want it to be. Yes. Brian says yes, yearly, but he always saves invest 50% balance for biz ops and taxes. Yeah, I mean that's ideal, right? Because what um, I'm talking about minimum standards. You want to go get the book Profit First? Great. You don't even need to read it. Just set up something like this. Okay. The last one is people. I'm going to tell you a quick story. This is the who, not how story. My father ran a plumbing business on the block I'm on right now. I'm on a square block. We have the block system where I am. We own the building I'm in. I own it. On the north side of this block, on St. George Boulevard, my dad had a plumbing company called Larkin Plumbing and Heating. It eventually became L&L Mechanical Company, and they did like schools and hospitals and big buildings, plumbing, heating, HVAC, plumbing, HVAC. Well, he was young in the business, and he and I were at dinner last week, and he said, "Do you remember me telling you about Donald Esplin?" And I said, "Kind of." He was growing this business with his brother, and people would come in, and it was kind of like a hardware store, yet it was a plumbing contractor, and they'd come in and they'd buy like a part, almost like Ace Hardware. Hey, I need a screw, I need a piece of pipe. So he'd go in the back and he'd write it down. This is 50 years ago. Keep track of it, all of it. He became more and more depressed. Well, it's interesting to know that my father is the most positive man, maybe who ever was born. If you knew him, you'd say, how could he be depressed? It's Dale Larkin. And what happened was he got so depressed that he said, Jeremy, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. This is what his business was doing to him. And this is why I teach an entire module in the roadmap on leverage, like a whole hour and a half in a small group on leverage. One day somebody said, there's this guy, Donald Esplin, he's looking for a job. Walks in, my dad said, it's been so long, I don't even remember how I met him. I hired him, and he said in one single day, the chokehold that the anxiety had on him started to alleviate. And it was like coming out of the water, like, like he could breathe. He had a who problem, not a how problem. You are one great hire away from getting your life back. Did you guys know that? Oh, I don't know if I could afford it. Guys, I can tell you these crazy stories. I talked to an agent who was making 200 grand a year who didn't want to hire a TC for $11,500. She estimated it was going to cost her $11,500. What? What are you talking about? Says she has her laptop on her with her at dinner. Give me a break, guys. I fired my assistant in 2008, my first one, because the market was crashing and I was panicked. That $50,000 that I saved, I think it cost me about 200 in production. A great hire should return 3 times the salary. That's good math. Okay. 2 hires every single person should be considering is either a TC, transaction coordinator. You can outsource that for $400 a file, or an executive assistant. If you're already outsourcing to a TC, your next step is going to be to bring a true executive assistant in. This is an administrative hire who does nothing but help you keep your world together. The other hire that I really want you guys to think about, this is, again, we teach this, there's no time today, is a showing partner. Showing partners get paid either hourly or like a really small salary, like or per showing. So probably $20 to $25 per home shown, or $20 to $30 per home shown. And then they get a percentage of the commission, and typically 10 to 15% of the commission. Here's my question. Would your spouse trade $50,000 to have you back? That's my question. Anybody want to drop that in the chat? You willing to admit it? Would your spouse trade $50,000 of the money that you're probably not even clear where it is even going to get you back? I'll bet he or she would. Can the TC executive be a VA? 100%, Steve. Glad you're here, brother. 100%. Absolutely, they can be a VA. I have a gal by the name of Kai who's in the room with us today. Kai is in the Philippines. Depends on your state laws. You have to figure that out. But they can't necessarily work with the client. They can do a lot of back end work. So you have to figure that out with your state laws. Guys, what's your block? What is your block? Why are you so terrified to step up and be a business owner? They can't advise on real estate services, Brian says. Why are you afraid to be a business owner, guys? What is it? See, when you're like, I can't afford an assistant, but you're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, you're crazy. I just said it. Guys, here's what your business reflects. You guys ready for this? You want to sit with the hard truth? Your business reflects what you avoid. I want you to just sit with this. Always burnt out? You avoided delegation. Cash always feels tight? You avoided tracking your numbers. Everything breaks when you step away? You avoided installing systems. Family says you're always gone, at least emotionally, but maybe both. You probably avoided the hardest conversation of all. Guys, what the realtor avoids, the business always reveals. If I called your spouse right now, and Steve, back to your comment, there's a lot of that discussion we could have, obviously offline. If I asked your spouse right now, describe your experience. Tell me about your wife or husband's business right now. What's your experience of their business? What would they say? Just for fun. Anybody willing to share? What would your spouse say? What would your spouse say if we called them right now? Tell me about Bob or Betty's or Sue's. Present in body, but not in mind. It's all he thinks about. What else? What else would they say? That I put business above him. You are not alone, Melissa. Always on the phone, Calvin says. Guys, you know your kids don't care if you're a top producer. Always on the phone, even on vacation and at dinner. I'm a slave to my business. It runs me. It owns me. I don't own it. Dude. Yes. Ah. God, you guys are great. Thank you for sharing this, especially where we're not even in a Zoom room where we don't see each other's faces. Maybe it's easier to share. Always a business. He's a jerk. Yeah, if you're always doing business, you might get called a jerk. Would they trade 50K to get you back? Yeah, yeah. Now, if you're an agent going, well, I don't even earn enough money to survive, that's a different conversation. For instance, people I work with in the roadmap, minimum production is about 20 transactions a year to do what we do because that's who we coach, right? So, guys, I made the shift. Whether it's 25 homes sold or, it doesn't matter. I've sold hundreds a year, many years, many years. I was selling like literally regular one at a time, going out and taking the listing appointment, a dozen homes a month, 10 to 12 homes a month for a long time. Guys, this is just a placeholder. This stuff, it doesn't matter what you put here. It's not a tactic shift. It is an identity shift. But let me say something. Ryan says, I need an AI or VA to take my emails. I should just channel negotiations right now, negotiating 13 deals. Dude, you will make mistakes negotiating 13 deals, and there's no way you can show up at home. Not a chance. These are the three pillars. And I want to ask you guys a question. Okay. I want to ask you, when you look at the identity, architecture, and scale issues, yeah, yeah, crazy that you're doing that. What is your biggest opportunity? Is this an identity problem? I want you to just think about this. Okay. What is the biggest opportunity for you? Which of these three pillars is identity? Is it the architecture and operating rhythms of your day? Is it scale? I just want you to think about this. Where is the biggest opportunity? And here's a question. What's it costing you? Real talk. What is it costing you? What's it cost, guys? At home, in your health. The heart there is actually for family, but that could be your heart. In time. What's it actually costing you in money? If nothing changes in the next 6 to 12 months, what does that look like? Be honest. I think you guys can be honest with yourselves. You don't have to put it in the chat. What's this costing you? What happens if nothing changes? Guys, what if you could lock this in? What if you could lock these three pillars in? Then what? What if you could dial this in? It's 12 months from now. You're going home at a decent hour. Your spouse is like, wow, you're back. Comment here because I have my chat in my other window. Definitely identity. I need to truly see myself as a business owner. Go home or turn off at night. Can't wait. Yeah, it can wait until the next business hours. Kind of like we put it in the locker today, Melissa. Let's assume it's a year from now. It's 2 years from now. You've dialed this in. It's not perfect, but you feel like you have these three pillars. What's possible? Guys, what is possible? You know, and you're probably asking the question because people ask the question, well, how do I install this on my own? Well, first of all, installing it is not a perfect linear process. I need you to know that. This isn't like, cool, so we just like call someone and pay them and they fix it. This takes time. But I've seen people apply this on their own. It's messy, it's slow. Some of us have been in the same patterns for a decade, 20 years, right? The others to get into a room with people who have walked through this and who are walking others through this, surrounded by peers who are on the same path, right? It's two ways to navigate this, right? That's that's the work that I do. So if anybody wonders what I do, this is kind of the work I do. Um, I mentioned the Realtor Roadmap. It's my job to tell you about this. It'd be crazy to not tell you about this. This is a 10-week kind of transformation, 10 weeks, 3 phases. You come in in chaos and because you're in chaos, we help you identify the upper limits on your life and production. The best part is I facilitate you figuring it out. We work together to create a custom blueprint for your life and business and install the pillars into your world. Okay. The goal is for you to leave. 10 weeks isn't very long. As a calm operator who's like, come up for air like my dad did when he was in the Depression, more present, more hopeful, with a clear framework to scale sustainably with your family still intact when you get there. We do this by application only. Because again, if the production isn't there, it's the wrong room. Brandon, a guy that's going to be in our cohort May 6th, sold 50 homes last year, selling 50 a year, said he's coming home at 8 o'clock at night. And his kids have been playing for hours with their friends down the street and his kids' friends' dads, who are his buddies, who came home from their 9 to 5 jobs and they've been home since 5. He's like, Jeremy, I have to fix this. Guy by the name of Lindsay. Lindsay's in South Carolina, phenomenal producer. Asked me this question. He's like, I wonder what God wants for me. Am I just trying to grind out the deals because it's what I want? Like powerful people. I have eight seats available right now for this cohort, and it's not for everybody, right? This is why we do application only, because some people aren't ready to let go of the comfort of the discomfort. Guys, the discomfort is comfortable. It's really comfortable. You got to show up. You got to, be willing to have honest feedback, and even when it's uncomfortable. If you want to talk about it, certainly no obligation. I got a link on here. I hope the link works. I didn't even try it. Is that awesome? It's a QR code. Should I have tested this before I got in here? This should go to my Calendly. Let's find out. Book a clarity call, a business clarity call. And 3, 2, 1, iPhone. Yay! It worked. Book a clarity call. Here's what we do. We talk about what's actually going on in your business, we want to locate some of the gaps that are holding you at your current ceiling. Then we talk through a personalized roadmap for the next 90 days, right? And if this is a fit to partner in this cohort, cool. Would love to have you. This is a pretty intimate room. And I lead this, and there's so much we go through. Good grief. We get into conversational selling and how to work your sphere and what to do with your database. But we leave a lot of time for discussion. This is Zoom, not webinar, right? So if it's a fit, I want you to do that. There are 2 versions of you guys a year from now. One is you made the shift. Your numbers, the calendar has a job, your TC handles what you used to drown you, your mornings are protected. You stop looking at your damn phone in the morning. You close more deals. Maybe you don't close any more deals. Maybe you close. I have a guy that's jumping into our cohort who's like, I don't even want to sell as many homes. I sold too many homes. But your spouse might say, hey, you seem different. You're present. That's one option. Whether you do that with us or you do it on your own. The other is nothing changed. Same ceiling, same chaos, same phone on your lap at dinner, same promise broken with your spouse. Same exhaustion dressed up as ambition, right? Like, I'm a top producer. I'm a hard worker. Same question at 2 a.m. Was last year a system or like a sprint? Did this, you added more lead sources, you bought another course, you told yourself you'd figure it out, and then the business kept revealing what you've been avoiding. So what I want you to do, if you want to book a clarity call, that link's right there. What I want you to do is think about who you want to be. And this is great comment. Brian said this opportunity is leverage with people and systems to get time freedom. Yeah. I went to Jimmy John's yesterday. I went to Jimmy John's the day before. I actually went Monday, Tuesday. It's close by, and I can get something relatively healthy in the afternoon that's not too heavy. Like, I mean, I don't care how you eat, but we talk about that in the Realtor Roadmap. We actually have an entire module on how are you actually holding up as a human being. We talk about relationships. When I go to Jimmy John's, it's weird. I don't see the owner welcoming me in and taking my order and then putting the spread on the sandwich. It's really weird. Have you guys noticed that? Where's the owner? There might be a manager. Why isn't the manager doing all the deliveries? Where did we go so wrong in real estate? He's at Tom's Deli. Love Tom's Deli. Where did we go wrong? This is a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer it. How did we get here where we decided, well, we don't need help. We're just going to be top producers and do it on our own. Guys, I'm going to put that Calendly link in the chat. Questions. It's 12:29.